Welcome, all of you. We're delighted to have you with us this afternoon. This is Tuesday afternoon, March 2nd, 2021. Is 3:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I'm Don Snow, and I'm in St. George, Utah. And our host for these meetings is Gerhard Roof, and he's up in Orem, Utah, in northern Utah. Today, we're going to talk about searching your computer. This is part 4. We'll show you what the other classes have been on finding duplicate images. Image files seem to proliferate if you're like on my computer. I got copies, 3 or 4 copies of things, and they take up lots of space. And so that's just something that you really need to get rid of. Now, before we get started with our class today, I hope you watched Roots Tech. It was wonderful. There was so much good stuff on there, and it'll be online for the next year. So look at the rootstech.org website. It's right there listed on your screen now, and you can log on to it anytime, and they're going to be adding more stuff to that. So I learned the other day. Now, here's the overview of the notes. First of all, we want to take a quick look at the notes themselves, and that's where they're posted. Gerhard always puts a link on the chat in the Zoom for those of you watching this on Zoom, and for those watching on Facebook later, it'll be usually it's in the comments where there's a link, but this is the link where the notes are stored right now. This also has the links to all my stuff on there. Let me log on here and get to, where is it on here? I thought I had it set up. I don't have it set up. I'll have to get it by going to here and back to here. Well, right here. Let me close a couple of these other things. Whoops, I didn't mean to close that one. I'll close that one. And this is my class notes page where that link is to. There's links on here to some of the other stuff that's stored on here. And then down here under class notes, class is coming up. Item 1 here, this is the 2nd of March of 2021, it's first Tuesday of the month, and it's online searching your computer part 4, etc. And the link's on there. I'll click on that in just a minute. You'll notice that 2 weeks from today, on the 3rd Tuesday, we're going to be doing keeping your computer healthy, part 1. So we're finishing our series on finding images, on finding files on your computer, and starting on doing keeping your computer healthy. Notice that by that time we will be on daylight savings time. We go to that on I think it's the 14th, Sunday the 14th, and so that's Mountain Daylight Time. And then in the 2 classes in April will be, I'm going to do one on Roots Tech, the Roots Tech Connect website. That is a gold mine of stuff, and I just want to show you some of the things that are on there. The ways you can find it, because it'll be available for the next year. And then another class later in the month. Okay, so I'm going to click on these notes. Well, I've already clicked on it. It's right here. Searching your computer, part 4, duplicate image files. Here's the abstract of what we're doing. And the class for today, we're trying to find what are the duplicate image files on your computer. We've looked at other files before, and we'll talk more about that here in just a second. Item 4 here, the problem for today is how to find similar or exactly the same image files, regardless of their names. And so you can duplicate, so you can delete the duplicates. Now, files on our computers, we've talked about this, and so I won't spend much time on this. Your computers have thousands and thousands. Actually, my computer has over, I think it's 2 or 3 million files on it and folders. And a lot of them are duplicates, not a lot, but many are, and enough so that it's worthwhile to clean them up, because they slow down your hard drive after a while. You need to keep your hard drive at least somewhat empty, so that there's extra space on there so that it can move stuff around easily. Otherwise, it slows it way down, because it has to put stuff in memory while it cleans up stuff on the hard drive and then put it back from memory. into the hard drive. And part 3, last time, it was just 1 week ago today. This is only the second week, or the first week after last week. We talked about how do you find non-image duplicate files. The duplicate image files, here's information about it. And there's some stuff in here on, like item 12 is on digital cameras. Since most of us use a digital camera these days, they all have settings in the digital cameras that are for the date and time. And if you have that set correctly, that metadata, they call it, of exactly the date and time, even to the second that you took that picture, will be embedded in the file. And those are very helpful to have. And one of the things I do, one of the first things I do after I download pictures from my my camera, is I run a program, and it's on here. It's item number, it's the one on, well, let's see, it's on item 13 about the metadata. I run this program. It's called Name, right there, EXIF. EXIF, I forgot what that stands for. It's something to do with the metadata in the that goes with the file. Metadata just means it's not in the picture, but it's about the picture. And it stores that information in there. And that program is a free program, but it will extract from your picture the exact date and time that you took it, and it'll put it in the title. And I haven't put it right near the front of my title so that it will get the information on there. And so that then they all sort completely chronologically, and all the stuff sorts together. We're going to be looking at programs. The main program we'll look at is this one called Awesome Photo Duplicate Finder. It's a program that one of my kids put me on to several years ago, and it really works slick, but I'll show you how to do it, and showing you the different things. The program we looked at last week for the duplicate other files, that one actually has a photo version, and if we have time, we'll talk about that as well. And that method that we talked about everything, to copy things from one file into another, if the title is exactly the same and the file is exactly the same, that helps without even seeing what what's in the file to be able to eliminate duplicates. If we have time, we'll talk about that too. Anyway, those are the notes on there. Now let me get back to the picture here of our PowerPoint, and I see somebody wants to be admitted. I will click that, and they're in. And so now this is an overview of the notes. Okay, we've done that. Now, computer files, there's thousands on your computer, and if the hard drive fills up, your computer slows down. And so we've been looking at how do you search for files on there. We've looked at, this is the fourth of the 4-part series. Those are the other titles that we've looked at there, and we're looking today at image duplicates. So we've talked about non-image duplicates, and how do you find it by file content, and how do you find it by name, and so on. Okay, now what I want to do is tell you a little bit, show you the overall picture here as to what I've discovered and worked on for finding duplicate images. First of all, the camera and the photo metadata help, because they have the information in there, as we just talked about. The program Everything works if it's got the same name. And if we have time, I'll actually show that, but we may not, because I want to spend more time on this awesome photo duplicate finder program today, and maybe even the duplicate cleaner free that we looked at last time. Now, in most of these programs, there are Mac versions of them, and so or something comparable. And so once you get the idea, then you say, oh, okay, I'll look for something on the Mac that will do the same sort of thing. Okay, let's look at some examples and demos. Okay, I'm going to click on this thing, and I'm going to go to this program right here. This is the program called, up in the upper corner, Awesome Duplicate Photo Finder. It's free. And on the notes, there's a link as to how you get to it and download it and install it on your computer. Now, what you see here is two pictures of the Mona Lisa. They look kind of like alike, don't they? But they're one's darker than the other one, and so on. It takes care of looking at the difference between these two, and it finds what are similar as well as exactly the same. Now, notice up here in the center, it says 56%. That's the similarity. I'm circling around it. I hope you can see right there in the center, 56% on there, that these are the same. Down below here are information about it. This is a JPEG. It's 17 kilobytes, and there's the dimensions of it, the number of pixels, etc. Over here is another JPEG. This picture is a JPEG with the size of it, and this is only 12 kilobytes. Now, the fact that this one has more kilobytes means it's probably got more. It's a larger file, but it's more accurate. So even though they look like the same picture, this one on the left is probably the more accurate one. We'll see that more in examples here in just a second. Now, what you do on this thing is you open up the folder. So I'm going to go to see where up in the upper left-hand corner here, it says there's a big plus bar there, and there's also the word file up here in the top. I'm going to click on that plus, and then as it there's the plus, and this is opening up now to all my hard drives. I'm going to close all the C drive because I want to illustrate something on the D drive. Okay, on the D drive, I've got a program. This is where I store stuff with different. Well, let's see. I better open up the D drive. It's not open. Let's see. There's the D drive open. Okay. Now the numbers 1 and 2 here just make these things sort right at the top of the file, the list for me. So I use that as a technique to get up there. The one that I want to show you is labeled 2. There's photos. Most of my photos I store by date, using that metadata thing that extracts them and puts the date in near the front of it. I put photo and then the date on it. But there's a whole group here of photos by topic. Those are when I've had to collect them out for some reason or another to use for different kinds of things. For example, we went on a Caribbean cruise with all the kids and one thing and another. All that stuff's in here. I'm going to put that whole thing in here. So I'm going to click on that and then click OK. All right. So now in the upper corner here, you see that photos, the 2 photos by topic. Okay, now there are some settings you can do on here, various settings, but I won't take time to reset any of those. Right here is start the search. I'm going to click on that. I'm not going to do the whole thing here because we don't need the whole thing, but it'll illustrate what's going on. Notice that here in the middle, it says total pictures scanned. It's up to 100, almost 200 out of 12,143 pictures in that folder. And now here's similar pictures found. It found 40 so far, 49, that's up to 60 something. And it tells you how much elapsed time is taken. It's up to 30 seconds now, 31, 2, 3 seconds, etc. I'll let this thing run for just a little bit till we get a bunch of copies in here of different things. And then I'll just stop this so that now there's a bunch of duplicates in there. I'll stop that search. Okay, and now it says, okay, what did you find? Well, it says we searched, the search was interrupted. I didn't let it finish. We found total pictures scanned 958 out of the 12,000, and it found 270 similar pictures, and the elapsed time was 47 seconds. So that was less than a minute. It found all those. Now I'm going to click OK. All right, now what you see here are the 2 different pictures that it found. Here's one picture on the left and another picture on the right that it found, that it says these look like they could be similar pictures. The percent similarity of these two is up here in the middle, 82%. This double arrow thing means you can switch those if you want to for any reason to swap the images one side to the other. Now, once you've just looked at that, you can say, okay, do I want to keep them both? Are they the same or what? Well, let's take a look. First of all, this down here at the bottom, you see the names. There's the names. I've highlighted it going across. There's the 82% over there and the similarity. Right underneath this picture on the left, you see it's a JPEG. It's 174 by 2272. That's the pixels on it. It's 510 kilobytes. On this one over here, looks like exactly the same picture to me as I look at it here. This one is quite a bit smaller. It's only 360 by 480 pixels. So, and it's the size on this one is only 33 kilobytes. So the one on the right is probably a picture that I made a duplicate of by doing a screenshot of the picture on the left, because the one on the left has so many more pixels and it's so much bigger. This is the more high resolution copy. And so even though they're the same picture, I don't need to keep both, but I don't want to delete the high resolution one. I'd want to delete the low resolution one so that I can keep the high one, and anytime I need to make another low one, I can. So I over down below on the here, you see this thing about there's an arrow that says move the file. There's another one here that says open it up to the picture itself if you want to actually see the picture, or a trash can if you want to see the trash can. This one is the smaller picture. It's a copy of the other one. This could be a picture that was actually stored in Google Photos, because Google Photos would cut down, without telling you, it would cut down the size of your original picture as it saved it, and it would not save the full high resolution copy that you thought you were saving. That was a real problem with Google Photos. So if you stored them on there, it may not have saved your high resolution pictures. It may have only saved these low resolution pictures. Anyway, this one, I'll get rid of it. I'll say, I don't care about that one. I'm going to trash can it. And so it says, do you really want to do that? Yep, I do. Okay, so it's gone. Here's the next picture. This one looks the same. The name is down here at the bottom. And there's this one has 1.66 megabytes. This one over here has only 512 kilobytes. Now remember, a kilobyte is 1,000 and a mega is 1,000,000. So this one on the left is the high resolution one. And you can tell that by looking at the size of the JPEG. This one only has 480 pixels by 360, whereas this one is 2,272 by 1,704. So I certainly would want to keep the high resolution one. Even though they look the same on here, the higher resolution one is going to be the one I'll want to archive. You always want to archive the best copy you've got, because you can make other copies, lower resolution copies from that one, but you can't go the other way. If you save the lower resolution, anything higher will never look any better. It's like Xeroxes of a Xerox. Save the very best copy that you can on there. So I'll get rid of this one over here. Okay, and it said, do you want it? Yeah, I do. Okay. Now that's gone. And so here's the next picture and so on. Now look down here. Let me move this screen up or this line up if I can, so that it's a little bit higher. Now look over here to the right where it says similarity. You see that similarity? If you click on that word similarity, it will sort them in the percent similarity. So there's some of these are only 1% similar and so on. Click again and it starts at the top. This is 100% similar. So I click on that picture. Whoops, let me go back and, well, it's this picture right here. This picture, let's see, one of them is 554 kilobytes. That one is 54 kilobytes, 800 by 598, 800 by 590. Those are exactly the same picture. That's probably just stored in a separate folder. And here's the folders down here that tells actually where that one is stored. And so I'd take a look at that since it's exactly the same picture. I don't want both. I want to keep just one of them. But I'll want to keep the one, if I've got one that I actually put the title in, more details. See, there's the exact date that was taken on 2005, January 15th. And I always keep my old camera numbers on there. You see, there's a P1030011. That came from my old camera that I had at that time. Let's see, that was when we were on a mission in Nauvoo in 2005. I think that's probably in Nauvoo. And so this one is, yeah, that, see that there, the P number is exactly the same. So that's exactly the same picture, one place and the other. This one seems to have a little bit more detail in the name. So I'll delete this one over here. I'll click delete. Okay, yeah, I want to get rid of it. Okay, and now these, this is going to go on down here for quite a ways, because you see there's 100%, 100%, 100%. See, all these are, many of those will be exactly the same picture. Maybe not all of them, so I do need to look carefully at them. And I've noticed that sometimes it says there's a 100% picture when I've taken two that were almost the same, but people had different expressions. But I took it once and then another, maybe a couple of seconds later. And I wanted to make sure that there was enough smiles on everybody's face and so on. So even though they're similar, and I think I've actually seen some here where it says they're 100% similar, but when you look at them, it's really a different picture. So I always double check to make sure that the number is the same on here. Okay, now scroll on down. See, all these have 100% on here. Let's go on down to, I'm scrolling down on the right, on the side over here till we get down to some that are a little bit less than 100%. Okay, here's one. There's one that's 93%. That's this one. Oh, that was in Nauvoo. That was some stars. We did various things with, they showed us how to do those star things.
Don, that's the 100% one.
Question. Okay, what's your question?
That was 100% one.
Go ahead with the question.
I think you meant to click on one below that.
I did? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, okay, it's this one. Yeah, okay, so this says, see, 93%. Thank you. It's our kids standing there. It's probably in Nauvoo. Does it probably says down here. The calendar stuff. Oh yeah, we made we used to make, in fact, we haven't done it recently, but we used to make an annual calendar. One of the kids would take slides or pictures from different things that the family had done the previous year, and we'd put them in pictures. This is one that was taken, let's see, it's the calendar stuff. There's the actual image. It was image number 1545, and that was the second copy, it said. Does this one over here say 1545 on there? This one does not say, but is it the same picture? It's 629 kilobytes versus 202 megabytes. Okay, so this is probably the one over on the right that we made as a screenshot to actually print for the calendar. And so this one with the kilobytes, that's a lot smaller resolution than this one over here. So I want to keep the high resolution one. And so even though they're almost the same picture, well, it was the same picture, but this one was, the one on the right was made from the one on the left. And so I'm going to delete the one on the right. So I click on that trash can and it's gone. Okay, the next one here is 86%. But you can see anyway, you can see what to do on here. So the first thing I check on is to see what's the size of the resolution here and make sure that the resolution, I keep the highest resolution one. And then if they're the same, then I keep the one down here. I look for the name to see if I've actually changed the name on one of them and actually put the more detailed name in there. It takes time, no question about it, but it's really worthwhile to clean up the stuff. And the more I've done on this stuff, the more I realize it's just like, you know, when you die, there's so much stuff you've got, and your kids have to go through it all. A lot of it goes to the DI, a lot of it goes to the trash. And if you can get your computer cleared up and get stuff taken off the computer and get it organized and labeled, your kids are going to bless your name for not having to go through the extra stuff. This is the program, and I like the program. Awesome Duplicate Photo Finder is the name, and it's free. They never ask for, I don't even know where they got a pro version. Maybe they do. Oh, they do. There's a donate thing up there, so you can donate to it if you want to, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, so far so good. That is that program. Let me click on that and take just a minute and show you the other program. This is back to the notes. Remember that was item 14, awesome photo duplicate finder. Let's go back and look at this duplicate cleaner free that we looked at last time. This is the one that we used to find bunches of the stuff for, let's see, that I've actually got it installed, so I don't want that one. I want to do a Control D, and it's this one right here. That was the download thing. I've already got it downloaded. Whoops, I got the wrong one. Come on. Let's see. Windows D will get me back here. This one. Why does that keep coming back up with the wrong thing? Well, okay. Well, anyway, I won't take time to show you. I was going to show you on that one that we looked at last time, and I don't know why it won't show here now. There's up near the top, there's a image. I think it says view image. And so once you find the duplicates, then you can look at the image, the images on there, but it's not nearly as clear as what you do with that one we just looked at. It shows you one image and then the other image, and it doesn't show you side by side so that you can compare them. And so you have to look a little bit more carefully on there. Let me see if I can't show you in the remaining minute here. Let me go back and see if I can show you the how to use that everything program, that because that saves so much time on doing some of this stuff. Okay, now let me search for .jpg. So this is the program everything that we talked about. You've heard me talk about it many times. JPG .jpg. Okay, these are all a bunch of JPEG files. This is all the JPEG files. I set this thing so it'll only show what's on the D hard drive. Remember that I have 3 hard drives in this computer, but I only wanted to illustrate one of these, one of the hard drives. Let me go down a ways here to where was it? I found a bunch of them that was a good illustration. It was down here. I'm just holding down the page down key because there's thousands of these things on here. But and there's bunches of these that will be the same picture. Oh, this looks like it. Here's a bunch of them. Let me make sure that I need to be able to get to the right hand side of my screen here to show you the so let's see, what do I need to do? I need to go back to here and hit escape. Okay, now I can see the right hand side. Okay, so now I'm just going to click on a bunch of these things. I'll just copy.
You just muted yourself, Don.
Did I get it unmuted now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hit the wrong thing when I clicked on the bottom. Okay, now there's a bunch of pictures. There's a bunch of these that are going to be the same. Now watch what happens. I'm going to drag these over and drop them into this file folder. Where's my dang, I can't see the, there, okay. Copy here. Okay, now it started to copy. Now look, it says the destination had, it copied a bunch in there, but it says there's 39 files that have the same name. Now they may not be the same file, but they got the same name. So you got options here. You could replace them, or you can skip them, or this is the one I usually use. Let me decide for each file. Now watch what happens when I click on that. Here are all these different files. Now these were all JPEGs, remember, so these are all pictures. This is the first one. I know the names match up here. So all I have to compare is the rest of the data. Look, this one says this is 9.1 kilobytes and this one is 3.6. That's not the same, clearly. This is 10.3 and that's 3.6. That's not the same. None of these are the same. Let's see if, let's go down here and click and see if we can find some that, well, none of these were the same. Unfortunately, none of these are the same. If they had been the same, I would have put a little click right here on this box. You see those box? You can click right there, and then it'll save that file, and it will replace the one that's already in there by that file. If you want to save both, you can put checks in both. Or if you want to save all of them, you can put click up there. And now there'll be checks in everything here, and there'll be checks in everything over here. So now you're going to save both, and it's going to renumber them with a 1, 2, and 3 on there. The ones I picked here turned out none of them to be the same picture. I thought they probably were. Well, they may be the same picture, but they're different sizes, and so they're clearly not exactly the same. But this sorts out bunches of stuff quickly without having to look at them if it's exactly the same file. So it's got to have the same name, and everything has got to be exactly the same. And then you check, click on this box, uncheck this one, just click on this side, and you'll save all these, and they'll replace all those. And so you've automatically deleted all kinds of duplicates that were exactly the same without you having to look at them. All right, let me get back to let me close that and close that and go back to our this and do examples and demos that we've actually seen. Here's the summary as to what we talked about. We were looking for duplicate image files this time, and this is the fourth of our series of searching for files on your computer. We talked about cameras, and that photos all have metadata, but you got to have that set right. If you haven't set it right in your camera, check it every little while before you start taking a bunch of pictures, because then it'll have exactly the right time and setting on it. And if there's a group of you that are together and you all have the date and time set correctly on your cameras, then if you sort them, if you use one of those programs and put them in so that they're in chronological order by moving the metadata, date and time out to the front, all of the pictures, regardless of who took it, they'll all sort right together, because the exact event time will be the same on all of them. So we found that very helpful. We looked at this awesome duplicate photo finder program, and that's the one that I use. It takes time, but it's the most useful to actually show you the pictures and tell you, so that you can decide which one you want to delete. And especially if one's got a higher resolution than the other, save the high resolution one. And we mentioned that duplicate cleaner free that we talked about last time also has a file viewer, image viewer built into it. Okay, any questions or comments? And if they,
I didn't get any in chat or in the comment section on Facebook.
okay, if you do have any questions, now's the time to unmute yourself. Or if you're on a computer and you're using Windows, just hold down the space bar, and that unmutes your microphone temporarily while you make your comment or ask your question.
Laura has unmuted her microphone.
Okay.
I have a question about metadata.
Okay.
You take a picture, you have it filed in your computer, and then you decide, oh, I want to work on it or do something, and you make a copy of that same picture on your desktop. When you copy the picture onto your desktop, that metadata gets destroyed, doesn't it?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure. It's not destroyed in the original. People say, well, JPEGs has a problem that if you even rotate a JPEG, you've lost resolution, which is true. But if you keep the original in exactly the format and make a copy, I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to check that and take a look at it.
I don't think it does, Don. I don't think the metadata is deleted.
You can always check the metadata by opening the file in File Explorer. It's explained in the notes. Open the file in a File Explorer and click on Properties, and then I think it's Details. It's on there somewhere in the notes. It gives you the sequence, and then you can see exactly what the metadata is, and so you can tell whether they're the same. But don't then resave the one that you copied onto your desktop until you're ready to save it, but then save it with a different name so that it doesn't wipe out your original. And then you can always go back to the original. If you do a TIFF format does not have that property. It's not like a Xerox of a Xerox. If you rotate a TIFF, you still keep the same resolution. But JPEGs, because they're smaller in format and size, if you rotate it or copy it and then save the copy over the original, you've lost resolution already. So just be careful. It's okay to archive them in JPEG as long as you don't destroy the original. Just make a copy and edit the copy any way you want to.
Don, I have a caution on metadata.
Okay.
If you're just taking pictures for yourself, you're going to be fine using metadata. But if you're one of these that loves to post your pictures on Facebook when you're traveling, it's unwise to have metadata turned on for those pictures. Metadata will tell a person looking at your pictures where you were on that date. And if you had just posted something from yesterday or from today on your Facebook page, they'll know that you're not home.
Yeah, that's true.
Location data is there, and people look for that kind of stuff to go and rob you blind while you're gone.
Yeah,
so
that's
either
true.
Do not post things on Facebook from your travels as you're traveling, or post them without metadata and no hint of when you were there.
How do you post them without the metadata?
Oh, you adjust your camera so that you don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
There are ways for also removing metadata in some of the picture programs, but that's another whole class.
Yeah, but I'd want to keep all the metadata on my own pictures. I just wouldn't want to post them with that.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a caution.
Right.
You have to think about that if you're posting things right away while you're traveling.
That's true, and especially for kids, with child problems, don't let your kids post things with the metadata in it on Facebook and other places, because that's naughty people get those. Okay, any other comments? Anything else that anybody wants to ask?
We did get a question in the comments on Facebook, and they're asking if you have any suggestions for what the equivalent program might be on a Mac. You addressed that at the beginning of the class, but I don't think they would have heard that.
Yeah, there probably are. Some of these programs, as I look at them, when I download them, it says click here to download for a Windows and click here to download for a Mac. But I don't really, since I don't use a Mac, I don't really pay that close attention to it. But many of them do have Mac versions, or there's something similar. And once you know what you're looking for, do a Google search for Mac programs for it, and you may find something that'll be comparable that will work. Well, I appreciate all of you watching and appreciate you being with us today. Our next class will be 2 weeks from today on the 3rd Tuesday of March. And that's going to be, we're going to be starting a series. Well, we're going to start at least the first one is going to be on, as you saw earlier, and it's on my webpage already, about keeping your computer healthy and downloading and installing files. And then I'm going to do one after that on the website for Roots Tech, because that is such a gold mine of stuff after last week. It's wonderful. And it's just, and it's not just family history stuff. There's stuff on there. There's cooking things. There's, because they asked for stories this time about what's life like and where you live, and so on. And so it's just, it's a gold mine of stuff. 1,500, let's see, there were 1,000, how many classes were there? 1,500 classes, sessions, plus the keynotes, and just all kinds of good stuff on there. So I'm going to do a whole, anyway, we're going to do a class in here on what's on that website and how to search it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Glad to have had you with us today.